You ever notice how the quietest rooms feel the heaviest? Like the silence isn't empty, it's occupied by 1,000 small choices you never made. Choices that looked safe, choices that felt like comfort. But comfort? Comfort is quiet, dangerous but quiet, and quiet things slowly take from you without asking. This is the story of Evan, and of millions like him who woke up older than they planned. This is the story about the trap called the comfort zone. And by the end, I'm going to give you a map, practical steps to get out, and how to actually stay out. Evan had a routine, so clean it could be sold as a productivity hack. Wake at 7, make coffee, check 2 apps, reply to 3 emails, make it to work by 9, sit, code, eat, repeat. His apartment was tidy, his life was tidy, the same face at the same coffee shop. The same routes, the same jokes, the same small talk. Predictable, comfortable. But one Wednesday changed everything. The company announced restructuring, not a big word in Evan's vocabulary, until it was his job title. They announced. He watched people leave on the same elevators. He rode every day. He felt shame like a heavy coat. Evan could have reacted. He could have taken a boot camp, learned a new skill, applied to startups. He had time. He had a brain. Instead, he stayed. He took a lesser role. Inside the same calming loop. He told himself it was easier, safer. The comfort zone did its work. It offered him smaller, softer choices that felt safe. Years later, Evan realized he'd traded years of momentum for minor comforts. He had more security, but fewer options. He had more routine, but fewer chances. He thought it was just a small choice. But in the ledger of life, small choices accumulate, and comfort compounds. What is the comfort zone? Let's get technical for a minute. Because being dramatic, without being rational is boring. The comfort zone is a behavioral space where your actions feel safe and predictable. From a neuro perspective, you're running low-risk patterns that reward your brain with dopamine for being familiar. Your brain loves efficiency. Repeat a behavior, and it builds a smoother neural highway. Less effort, less error. But here's the twist. Your brain doesn't care about your long-term goals. It only optimizes for local reward. If scrolling social media gives a quick dopamine hit, it will prefer that over the slow, uncertain path of learning a new skill. That's not a moral failing. It's a wiring issue. You weren't born lazy. Your brain was built to preserve energy, not to maximize potential. And this is why comfort sneaks into your life. Like a polite thief, it offers little pleasures and removes small friction points. You stop cold calling because rejection hurts. You stop applying to better jobs because maybe they'll say no. You stop practicing that new language because practicing now is awkward. The brain says, nope, not worth the energy, so you don't, and years fold into the same day. Now, the comfort zone isn't always bad. It protects you from unnecessary risk, from impulsive mistakes. But when it becomes the default, when the line between stability and stagnation blurs, that's when it becomes a trap. 2 more people, 2 more lives, different chapters, same trap. First, Mira. She used to sketch for fun. Once, she made a poster that sold at a local market. People told her she had a voice, but design school called for long nights and brutal critiques. She chose a job in marketing. Neat, 9 to 5. She said she'd sketch on weekends. When I'm settled, she promised. Weeks became months. When she opened her sketchbook again, the lines were rusty. Her bold ideas felt dim. She blamed time, but what she didn't notice was something quieter. Each time she opted for ease, her creative muscle shrank. Second, Raj. Raj wanted to launch a small cafe. He did the spreadsheets, the projections, the taste tests, but the landlord wanted a security deposit. The bank wanted collateral. Raj's friends said, just wait. The timing isn't right. Raj lived in the sweet fog of waiting. He took another year of the steady job. When he finally had the money, the location was taken. The confidence he once had, it dimmed with the passing excuses. This is the slow drift. Not a sudden crash, but an erosion, 1,000 micro decisions that look harmless. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll learn later. It's not the right season. Each one is small, and that's the scam. The comfort zone sells safety in tiny doses. Why do we accept the drift? Because the discomfort of change is immediate. The benefit of change is delayed. Your brain is biased toward the immediate. Evolution designed you to value now. That's helpful when you're fleeing a predator. It's lethal when the predator is your own habit. The turning point: fear, pain, and a choice. Evan's point of no return wasn't dramatic. No cliff. No head-turning epiphany. It was a phone call from his estranged sister. She'd been diagnosed, and she said, "I wish you'd visited more." Evan felt a grief punch through routines. This is what often shakes people. Not external success or failure, but internal regret. Regret is more honest than fear. Fear says, "What if it fails?" Regret says, "What if it never starts?" The second hits harder, because it imagines old age whispering, "You could have tried." Mira got a similar push. She got a one-line message from an old friend who'd become a freelance illustrator. The friend wrote, "I quit last year. I regret nothing." The line lodged in Myra's head like a seed. Raj? He saw the storefront he wanted turned into a gym. He felt a raw sense of loss. But more than loss, he felt time slipping. He realized comfort doesn't just postpone chances. It rewires your ambitions until they feel foreign. When the realization strikes, there are two routes: blame and retreat, or accept and act. Most people prefer blame. It's safer, but action is the only antidote. Let's get practical. Why is the first step the worst? Because breaking an established pattern asks your brain to change the most used roads. Imagine forcing traffic to take a new bridge. Until many cars cross it regularly, the bridge feels empty and scary. There's something else: cost signaling. Risk carries immediate costs: money, time, social embarrassment, while rewards are probabilistic and delayed. Economically, humans are wired as loss-averse. Losses feel heavier than equivalent gains. Tell someone, "You might lose 20 rupees, and their gut tightens. More than when you tell them, "You might gain 50 rupees. So comfort wins, because the cost of change feels like loss. Also, identity. Your habits are identity scaffolds. "I'm the kind of person who goes to the same gym." That sentence carries identity energy. Changing routines requires rewriting internal identity scripts. That's painful. It's like deleting files you thought represented you. All these together, neural inertia plus loss aversion plus identity friction equals strong resistance. So let's build an escape plan. Not a motivational slogan, a step-by-step, evidence-based approach you can actually follow. Step 1. Micro discomforts. Start small, deliberately. Pick a tiny action that tilts your identity. If you want to be a writer, write 150 words before bed. If you want to learn coding, open the IDE for 20 minutes today. The point: small, consistent friction that signals, "I am someone who shows up." This reduces the intimidation of change and starts to build neuromuscular memory. Step 2. The 2-week rule. Consistency over intensity. Commit to 2 weeks of doing the new micro action daily. Why 2 weeks? It's not magical, it's practical. 2 weeks is long enough to make the action feel familiar, short enough to be believable. After 2 weeks, you'll hate stopping more than continuing. Step 3. Make failure cheap. Reduced consequences. You'll fail. Expect it, but structure experiments so failure costs little. Use mock projects, dry runs, cheap prototypes. Want to start a cafe? Start with pop-ups or online baking. Want to quit your job? Build income streams before you jump. Making failure cheap reduces the psychological loss, which, remember, your brain hates. Step 4. Rewire identity. Speak differently, act accordingly. Stop saying, I will, if you mean, I might. Say, I am learning to, or, I practice. Identity language is a tiny demand, but a heavy lever. The more you label yourself as the person who does the new thing, the easier actions become. Step 5. The accountability ladder. Real people greater than apps. Commit publicly to one person, not an anonymous app. Humans respond to other humans. If your friend knows, you'll post a weekly update. Social friction keeps you honest. But pick the right person. Someone who will call you out, not be your comfort enabler. Step 6. Schedule discomfort. Calendar it like a meeting. If it's not scheduled, it's optional. Put your micro actions in the calendar. At a time you won't cancel. Treat them like important meetings with yourself. Step 7. Exit triggers. Predefined conditions. Design practical exit triggers, so that comfort doesn't masquerade as prudence. Example, if my side income hits 60% of salary, I'll give notice. Concrete thresholds force action when the numbers are right. Step 8. Learning over results. Process greater than outcome. Remove outcome fixation. Measure your process, not immediate success. Skills compound. Reframe. Today I practiced greater than, did I win? Focus on learning. Outcomes follow. Step 9. Rehearse social scripts. The rejection cushion. If social fear stops you, rehearse phrases. I'm launching soon. I'm trying something new. I appreciate your feedback. Scripts reduce adrenaline in real moments. Step 10. Create a discomfort ritual. A symbolic act. Make one ritual to mark the transition. Evan tossed a worn-out hoodie. That represented his safe years. Mira framed her first messy sketch. Rituals stitch your old self to your new one, and make change emotionally real. Part 7. Realistic objections and counter strategies. I can already hear the objections. But I have bills. But my family depends on me. But what if I fail and ruin everything? Let's debunk these rationally. Objection 1. Financial constraints. Start with low-cost experiments. Learn remote freelance skills. Sell small products. Or validate ideas before big investments. The aim isn't reckless jumping. It's calculated testing. Objection 2. Responsibilities. Change doesn't have to be instantly disruptive. Use nights and weekends to build runway. Most life changes are staged, not dramatic. You can be responsible and still progressive. Objection 3. Fear of failure. Failure is data. If your fear is about pride, remember, pride is a cheap currency. Time is expensive. Use iterative experiments to reduce downside. Objection 4. What if I'm too old? The average age of starting successful ventures is much higher than the stories make you think. Age brings discipline. Don't confuse age with decay. Objection 5. But my environment is toxic. Not all environments are immovable. Small changes in the right direction attract different people and new signals. If it's completely toxic, prioritize exit planning, safety first. All sensible objections can be handled with sensible strategies. The problem is that comfort dresses as logic. It uses plausible sounding reasons to keep you still. Keep an eye out for that voice and test it. Look, comfort isn't a villain. It's a mechanism. It's neutral until it becomes the only thing you trust. If you want to live a life that feels like a steady climb instead of slow settling, you have to respect discomfort the way you respect a teacher. Do one uncomfortable thing this week. Not loud, not dramatic, just one small act that signals you're done letting the quiet eat your future. If you want a concrete first task, tonight, for 25 minutes, do something that scares you slightly. Apply to one job you think you aren't ready for. Send one prototype to a stranger. Book one ticket for a class. After the 25 minutes, close the laptop. Do it again tomorrow. Do it for 2 weeks. At the end of those 2 weeks, look back and measure. You won't be different because of a motivational speech. You'll be different because you built a different set of habits. The trap of the comfort zone is not dramatic. It's quiet, it's patient, it waits, while you slowly trade risk for convenience. And then one day, you look up and realize, the life you wanted has drifted away, like a boat that never changed course. So choose, not for glory, not for fear, choose because the alternative is a life you'll one day regret more honestly than failure ever could. Growth begins where comfort ends. Pick a step, take it, keep walking,